a soldier.
What up, virtual people? Welcome to episode 81 of VCR Redux, where we take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2022. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink.
How you doing, everybody?
And we have two radical guests on the show tonight, the creative tour de force duo behind Retro Fiend Radio, makers of the finest canon of martial arts docs on the internet. Their newest video, Don Perry Produced the Music Part 3, is available on YouTube now. Dustin, Nino, and Kristian Smock are on the show tonight. Ow, ow.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Yes, we are not worthy. We are not worthy, sir.
Oh, come on.
Back.
Proof positive that two heads are better than one. We're hitting you people with a double dose of Retro Fiend radical awesomeness. Anyway, we are here.
80s.
What did Ian say? Sorry?
The not since Odysseus in the land of Hades have two heads been better.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we are here today to load up on muscle enhancers, have an all-you-can-kick-ass buffet, and wash it down with a double dose of Dolph and Van Damage. That's right, folks. This world needs Universal Soldier 7 Electric Boogaloo, and we're here to give it to you.
Wait, what is that you said? I can't hear you, sir.
But before we can discharge the Sarge, we need to talk about how Universal Soldier came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course, that includes everyone watching in the live chat. Was it Love at First Laserdisc, Vital VHS? Hit us up in the chat and let us know how Universal Soldier came into your lives. So, Kristian, tell us about the first time you watched this 1992 masterpiece of a film.
Well, surprisingly enough, I didn't see it at the theater. Typically, I would have seen this at the theater, I'm sure. But I'm not sure why I missed it at the theater, but this is going to age me a little bit. But it came out the summer that I graduated from high school. And then that following fall, I started to work at Blockbuster Video. And that's when it came out on video. And I think I got the screener tape, if I remember correctly, and took it home and watched it on tape. And I loved it, of course. I was a huge Van Damme fan.
You know, this is an interesting thing now. I've known a lot of people that have worked in video stores and have brought screener tapes home and showed them to their friends and shit like that.
Movie gallery represent.
What is the point? It's like the point just that to like let the movie leak out a little bit and get some people hyped on it before it hits video. Like, I don't know, like, or to get the video store employees excited. Like, yeah, I saw it. It's great. Like,
I don't know, Chris, if this was, but at movie gallery, we were encouraged to watch the movie so that if the customers came in and asked, "Hey, what's a good movie and what's not a good movie?" They actually trusted us. Like, so it was almost like we tried we were the examples. You know, we were
yeah.
Movies. It was so we could recommend it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, well,
yeah.
No, this is a terrible, Steven Seagal movie. Let me tell you a better Steven Seagal movie. Out for Kill. No. Here,
Out for Kill.
That's not a good one.
Oh my god, that's so perfect. That is like the subtitle of every Steven Seagal movie. Out for Kill.
They wanted us to watch it. It's like, no, don't get that. Here, let me give you Dangers of Mercenaries. Here, this is the one to watch.
Yeah. Belly of the Beast.
I couldn't have loved Out for Kill more than if you had said Hard for Justice. Like, seriously.
And Out for a Kill, that's a fucking legitimate Seagal movie.
It is. It came out
real movie. Yeah,
it's a horrible
Out for a Kill.
Yeah,
it's a real Seagal
It's a real movie.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing.
Yeah, it wasn't making it
for a kill though. It'd just be Out for Kill. Like, no.
Yeah, well, I wish it was. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it does violate his 3-word title
like
rule.
it's like if you fed every Seagal movie into an AI algorithm and had it come up with the title would probably be Out for Kill. I'm just saying, right?
Easily.
Gold. Oh my god. Well, you can't talk about one without talking about the other, right? If you talk about Van Damme, you have to talk about Seagal. These were the last of the old school 90s action hero guys.
Absolutely.
God damn, what a fucking time to be alive, folks.
Mhm.
So I have to ask,
Mhm.
I'm sorry to completely derail your story, Chris, but when you worked at Blockbuster, getting back to that, was that at the era
Sure.
where they would have the shelf of staff picks? Were you allowed to like have your own like little shelf of picks?
Not when I first started. I think that was a little bit later, maybe, because we did have
Okay.
a staff shelf, like at the end of the
Okay.
new release shelf.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember those days. It was like, on the main wall. Like,
Yeah, it was like at the end of it. I worked at Blockbuster, I think, for like 2 years, 2.5 years, way too long. Oh,
okay. Wow.
hi.
2 years,
Oh,
man.
my
That's
wife's
like
bringing me
longer than I've held
I
down
got
most of my jobs.
after dinner beer here with
So,
Spuds McKinsey. So I'm gonna
oh,
have a beer now.
nice. Wow. Living life the right way.
Thanks, honey.
Necessity for gracious living. Dustin, how did Universal Soldier come into your life?
God, I was trying to think about it, and I'm not sure if I just saw it on TV a bunch of times and then rented it, and for some reason I think it was one of those movies I just seen chunks of it on TV like 10,000 times, and then finally just rented it when it came available, and then watched it. A lot of Van Damme movies were like that for me. Or a lot of 90s action movies were like that for me. I saw a lot of them on TV a bunch of fucking times in random spots before you would see them. Yeah, you would see them, and then you would catch them again, and
three times a day, and it would get ratings every time.
Mhm.
Because I'd watch it like
definitely...
I'd watch it at least 2 to the 3 times if it was good.
You were the ratings,
right?
I was,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
As soon as I got cable, I was the ratings. That's right. It's an
Yeah.
instant
Yeah.
So were you guys?
I think I did that. Yeah,
okay.
I think it was just one of those. Yeah. When I was just watching it a bunch of times, because it was one of those ones where it wasn't like Bloodsport or Cyborg, and I was like, what is this? This is like, it's got a whole lot of different elements in it that's not usually in like a Van Damme movie. It's a straight up, it's a full on action movie. It's got all this weird sci-fi shit in it. It was at the time I remember thinking like, I just remember thinking it was like a lot for a Van Damme movie.
It's the first one with the big production values, isn't it? Like the first big Van Damme movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Probably. I guess it's definitely because first like real, almost feels like one of his first real theatrical release movie. You know what I mean? That was like a movie that was directed by a Hollywood film, filmmaker. Right? Yeah.
It was. I mean, to be honest, this was the first real. Like there was a budget behind the promotion of the movie. The posters were everywhere. Probably next to Hard Target. This is probably the most promoted Van Damme movie.
Yeah, and Hard Target was the following year, right?
Yeah, so Hard Target was like the big one. That ad campaign was everywhere, but Universal was the first kind of big major Hollywood Van Damme.
I remember
it was all Canon type. Like even Cyborg, which has a good production value, was still the Canon method. It was still
like Canon going bankrupt too. Like they had to use all the spare parts from like other fucking movies from like Masters of the Universe or something. Yeah.
Shout out to Albert Pune. He's not doing very well.
Oh man.
Someone posted on Facebook he's not doing well. So just shout out to him. Shout out to the fucking Cyborg. Fucking love that movie. Love Mean Guns. That's what I'm talking about him.
It's actually a pretty good example of all the major studios, kind of made fun of Canon, and they were kind of the black sheeps, and they were kind of a joke, But as they started to make a lot of money, the studios started to take notice. And this is a perfect example of the studios starting to mimic the Canon style. Take the formula, put a lot more money into it, make it really big. I mean, even the rain sequence at the end where they're fighting is like the rain sequence at the end of Cyborg. I mean, they basically took Michael Dutchy's the editor. He's the classic Canon editor. He edited this movie. That's why it's like so fast paced and so beautifully done,
I love Albert Pune, and I don't mean to speak ill of Cyborg, but when I was a little kid, I didn't like it. It was because I wanted Universal Soldier when I saw Cyborg. I saw Cyborg later.
Oh, right.
Sure.
I think I think I might have even saw both those movies on TV, and I think I would get them confused, like which one's fucking which. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I would think they're the same movie or something. Sometimes
This was
Like,
this was a USA buffet item.
USA buffet.
Oh yeah.
The side of org, a little bit of hint of blood sport, and if you had room on your plate, here's a little bit of Universal Soldier and Lockup. You know, at 8 o'clock. You know, that's what you got for USA on the good days. Yeah.
Well, Universal Soldier took all the formulas of everything that kind of worked. You know, there was Cyborg, but then there's also Terminator. There's also a little bit of RoboCop in there, bringing them back, getting the memory. Yeah. So it's everything that sort of every 12-year-old loved in the 80s. It all kind of came together in this movie in the early 90s, you know.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this was a moment in time kind of movie. It's a good picture of, you know, to me, it's a lot of ways it's a great time capsule to like the summer of 92, like the summer of this and like Batman Returns. Like there was just, you know, like that was pretty much it. Like you saw these movies and you were just happy. It was, again, just a great time to be a little kid. But Ian, I'm curious, did you see this in theaters, or how did you discover Universal Soldier?
I remember in Wellman, Iowa at Slagle's Pharmacy. We had an old soda shop pharmacy that had video rentals in the front.
VHS. Yeah.
It was the VHS cover of Universal Soldier, the white cover, you know, with them kind of facing each other, and but it was next to Nowhere to Run. And I remember renting this and Nowhere to Run at the same time. And I actually, you know, God bless.
Oh, wow.
I actually know that in order to rent the movie, they had to actually call my parents at home to ask if it was okay to rent these. You got
wow. Oh, that's cute.
That is cute.
Can Ian rent these? My parents like, yeah, whatever. You know, so I remember watching that. I mean, of the two, I can't lie. I'm still a Nowhere to Run guy. Like I stand by that one. You know, Joe Esterhaus all the way. But I remember watching Universal Soldier the same day, and I was like, this is interesting. I didn't get it then. You know, this is definitely one of those, as years later when I was in grad school watching all Van Damme movies to keep my sanity. You know, I remember watching this back to back with Inferno or Desert Heat, depending on which version of it that you know.
Yes.
Van Damme saved me during grad school. You know, when you're doing all film school and you're just, you can't stand watching movies anymore. I could watch Van Damage though, because I didn't have to think about Van Damage. I wasn't thinking about the color correcting in freaking, you know, Sudden Impact. Or, you know, I wasn't, or why am I one Double Impact? Sorry. I wasn't thinking about color correcting. I wasn't thinking about editing style. I just wanted to watch a movie and escape. And that's where I really remember mostly though watching Universal Soldier was during that Van Damage period. Because then I started getting all the DVDs and I started rewatching it. And it's like, you know, this is next to Replicant and, you know, all those other great ones. But yeah, that was the first one. You know, I remember renting it with Nowhere to Run.
Nowhere to Run, gosh, I fucking feel like I watched that movie one time when it came out on VHS and have not watched it since. I probably should give it a rewatch. You know, I should go back and just do all the Van Damme, like, you know, the mid-90s, the Universal years stuff.
Great thing about your life, Chris, because of that sentence.
I'm just saying, I don't remember much about Nowhere to Run other than...
Is Nowhere to Run it's like a Shane remake, kind of, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's completely Shane.
Yeah. I like that one. I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah. That's
it's literally a Shane ripoff 101.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Well,
Joe Esterhaus got $1 million for ripping off Shane.
Wow. Good for him.
A lot of people have ripped off Shane, but
wow. Wow, shit. Well, fucking next week's movie is The Last Boy Scout. Speaking of $1 million, that's the first script that ever sold for more than $1 million. So he owes some credit to Shane Black for getting that $1 million paycheck as well. But getting back to Universal Soldier, and like again, like the Van Damme years of the early 90s, like this kicked off this was kind of in the middle of the Universal years. where Universal was doing those canon movies for a while, you know, Death Warrant and Lionheart and Sudden Death, and you know, like they were really big on him for a while. I remember watching that in a biography on Van Damme.
Can I tell
like
you,
Universal was trying to offer him like this huge multi-picture contract. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Ian?
I gotta give you my 3 things I love about every Van Damme movie. All right.
Okay.
One is he will always
That's what I was thinking too.
Wait, what?
His ass was what I was thinking.
But one is he'll always get cut in the stomach. I don't know why that's his go-to, but Van Damme always gets cut in the stomach.
You're right. Oh my God.
I don't know why. Every single movie.
You're right.
Stomach. It's his go-to. You can count on it every time. He'll always fight either Bolo Young or somebody else, like Greg. Who's that? Who's Stig Svensson? Like, he'll fight one of those.
Thorson.
Thor Svensson.
Thorson.
Yeah.
Sven Thorson.
Sven Thorson. You guys got
it. And 3, I swear to you, every single movie they got to explain why he's Belgium. Yeah,
that's kind of true too. Yeah.
Sometimes they don't though.
What is this weird accent?
Fucking leave it.
Yeah,
my
we gotta explain it.
Favorite is in Death Warrant, where literally the is, hey, you rogue cop from Canada, son of a bitch. Like, you've got to tell me where he's from for some.
Right. At least, like in these ones, they made him a Cajun or something. They gave him a Luke Devereaux name. You know what I mean?
And at least his mom's French when he comes back.
And his
dad's at least hard target. Yeah.
It's great.
God. So I'll get to my first time on seeing Universal Soldier in a sec. But first we get the live chat. There's not much in it. It looks like Sean Gold is the only man heading us up in the live chat today. So thank you, Sean. We appreciate you, brother.
You're the man, Sean.
Yeah. He kicks it off with the no Mickey, best show yet.
Oh wow!
And yeah, he's picked Mickey for some reason to have a fake vendetta with, which I'm kind of like loving at this point. It's sort of hilarious. No, I love Mickey, and we wish Mickey well. He's getting ready for Thanksgiving. He needed the night off for family stuff. So he also says 2 heads are better than one, double the pleasure, triple the fun. Some retro fiend love in there, and says I saw it on Cinemax. It was that damn scene, with those damn terrorists. I assume he's talking about the Hoover. Oh, right, the dam. Hoover dam. Autocorrect is fixing his dams.
Those damn terrorists. Thanks for Thanksgiving.
Right there. There's the mashup.
Ruined Thanksgiving.
I need the Clark Griswold cut of Universal Soldier's opening where he's just swinging around while they're just killing people.
What damn
Vegas vacation. So like I said, this movie reminds me fondly of the summer of 1992, a time when your dad or my dad would take me to the movie theater that was attached to the Hawthorne Mall in Vernon Hills, Illinois. And that was where I would always go with my buddy David Lund. Shout out to wherever you are, bro. And movies like Batman Returns and Universal Soldier. And that was one of those ones that I was very prepped for. I was a huge Van Damme fan off the heels of a film by the name of Double Impact. I don't know how, but Double Impact, the VHS just showed up at my house, and I was like, oh my God, this is the shit. And so Universal Soldier was, I'm sorry?
Barry just left this in your house one day outside while you were sleeping.
Just appeared.
Yeah. My dad liked action movies, so that was one of the ones that he got for whatever reason. He was like, oh, 2 times the Van Damme. All right, sweet. I'm gonna take this home. And that was just like one of those tapes that like I watched like every fucking day. I loved Double Impact. And like getting back to what you were saying before, is like Van Damme always fights Bolo Yang. He always fights he's always with one of a couple people because he only really has good acting chemistry with a couple actors, one of which is himself in Double Impact. And there's like Dolph Lundgren. He has good chemistry with Dolph, Bolo Yang, and I believe his name is Michael Kissy, who plays Tong Po in Kickboxer.
He's so small. He always has
chemistry,
He always has to go off fight a big guy, because he's tiny. So you always have the huge guy for him to fight, right?
Which is the thing, like if you,
I stand with fake Tung Po in Kickboxer 4. I'm with him.
Didn't he fight Lance Henriksen in one movie though?
He did in Hard Target.
Yeah,
That's Hard Target.
Target.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Some of those '90s ones, like Hard Target and Nowhere to Run, like blur together for me a little bit. I'm ashamed to say.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I probably knew them well.
Somebody has
and Arnold Bosloo
out there where they record good scenes from every Van Damme movie and just edit it on the doc. Their two
yeah. I used to do that kind of shit. Put all my favorite action sequences together, on a dub tape.
Ultimate fights, ultimate, boogeyman.
Yeah.
Make the kick-ass mixtape.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, the scene that really stuck with me, and I think still does, maybe the best scene in the movie is when Van Damme's just trying to eat and everyone's trying to kick the shit out of him. And it's got like some of my favorite things, just like idiot henchmen rednecks that are just like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass. And they get their ass kicked, and then later they come back for like round 2 and they with like the same technique, like no one ever lands a single shot. Yeah. He's just trying to fucking eat food. Like
that's a great scene.
The only person that shit works with is Van Damme. Like Van Damme does, like you get the feeling like he does choreograph his own fight scene. So like, this shit's going down before Hong Kong cinema came over to the United States. We didn't have the Matrix yet. They didn't bring over Wu Ping. They didn't have directors doing what Hong Kong did, was where they'd have action directors do the action scenes. Directors would just do all the dramatic shit. You know what I mean? This was back in the day, like Sam Furstenberg style, where the fucking director would also do the action scenes. So what you'd have Van Damme do his action scenes because that's how he would fucking do it. And like his shit works, like his blood sport style of fighting, like the way he moves and shit, like it wouldn't work with anybody else, but with him it does. And I think that's probably part of the reason, like, he couldn't really evolve. Like if you look at the very last Universal Soldier, just to jump ahead a little bit with like Andrei Arlovsky and stuff, it's very more poppy, very much more Hong Kong style of action. He had a hard time getting used to that because he just wasn't his thing. And I think like there's something to be said about, you can say that he has a huge ego and he would edit his movies just to feature more him or whatever. But at the end of the day, that shit fucking worked, and it worked well, and it worked for him at the time.
It made Bloodsport, which is what made him, and he probably did the same on Kickboxer, And
I love that. Like what you were saying is like when they, as a kid especially, like when they come in and just do one shot and he goes, and that's it. And it's just like just one hit, one move, and it's like that's it, and it just looks cool as fuck. It's not all this, type of shit, and it's that like it's just it really encapsulates that era of fucking cinema. Van Damage, man.
Yeah,
damage.
He was more of a showman.
My favorite part of that scene is actually the cook. We don't have actors like this anymore, but that
guy who's that guy in everything, yeah.
What I remember him the most in is from the Cutting Cards episode of Tales from the Crypt. He's the guy in the car. It's just like, oh, take it easy, asshole. Like that's his line. And I think he's in the diner scene, like, I just slaved over all this food you're eating, asshole.
Yeah. I think that guy's a character actor, but I think he's also a stunt man too. That guy, I've seen that guy in a bunch of stuff.
I think that's right. Yeah, he's in tons of action movies, so that's probably that makes sense.
Where I haven't seen him? I haven't seen him win his Oscar for being that guy.
He should.
Yeah, true that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need like
just shout out to Edo Ross too. That guy's such a cool character actor.
Yeah,
great.
Oh my god,
he's like in such cool shit.
He doesn't have a Russian accent. Is Universal?
Yeah. 100%.
That's not true. That's not true. Lethal Weapon.
Right.
And 48 Hours. Isn't he in 48 Hours?
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he is in 48 Hours.
Yeah, and he's got that same like, I'm a panic kind of, you're fucking Looney Tunes, man. Like,
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, like he's in your face when he's losing his shit in your face. Like, oh, he's great. Yeah, Edo Ross is fantastic. The movie, and I gotta say, this is probably Dolph Lundgren's best actor.
I was just gonna say,
he steals the show.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
you can give me He-Man, but I'm going to tell you right now, people are like, oh, this crappy actor. This guy rocks in Universal Soldier.
Yeah.
Steals the
I love
show.
his like his asshole degenerate dead man voice.
And he's almost got this like if Rambo was a fucking piece of shit kind of vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like this, you know,
what we're saying. We're gonna die.
Well, every action
you know
movie is
like
only as good as its
PTSD,
villain.
you know?
Really. I mean,
Oh, totally, yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a good villain, you don't have a good action movie. I don't give a shit what it is.
For sure. Yeah.
And
I
he
mean,
like.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they're in the grocery store, when he brings everybody in and puts them in the meat locker, and all the children are there, and he's ranting and raving to all of them. That's my favorite part of the whole movie. Probably.
Oh yeah, because he's going on like this batshit monologue, like kick ass, kiss ass. Like,
all the children are standing there all scared.
Yeah, like there's like the like 12-year-old kid with like the price tag gun, like
got a nipple full of ears and shit.
Kid, man.
You can do To Be or Not to Be. Try pulling off that crap as an actor in Hollywood, and he does it. And I know for years.
Yeah, right. And he's like in the middle of a fucking Piggly Wiggly, and he's giving a great fucking acting performance.
Like,
you know.
Okay, like I get it. You gave him Masters of the Universe. Did he have a lot to work with in that movie? Nobody had anything to work with in Masters of the Universe. I love him in Masters of the Universe, but it's not an Oscar-winning performance. You know, and everybody like blames him for that, but it's like for years I've been saying, watch him in this and The Expendables. He really is a good actor. Like Dolph Lundgren, actually, when you give him something to do, he's great. If you give him Red Scorpion, no, he just sits there with a gun. There's
and let's be real, fucking he deserves credit for Drago as well, because that's also one of the most iconic villains ever.
Yeah,
and
Drago
he was smart, like not to like, you know, veer too far off of Universal Soldier, but he was really smart in that in the case of Drago, he looked at the villains in the previous Rocky movies. They're all like loud, fast talking, animated guys. And he's like, I'm going to be very stoic and very still. And, you know, just like have this quiet strength and like, holy shit, that totally worked. And he's like, I knew Stallone would know how to shoot that. And blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, okay, that's why he got the role to begin with. Because the other guys were probably trying to be like a Russian Apollo Creed or a Russian Clubber Lang, you know?
And why did Hollywood not make Ali Walker something?
Yeah,
he's great. I mean,
funny.
She had a famous TV show for a long time. Where she,
what was the show called again? I was thinking about this today.
I can't remember, but it was on for a long time, and it was very popular. I can't remember what it was
Melrose Place.
I didn't watch it, but
seeing her in was Universal Soldier. I don't remember seeing her in anything else, but
I remember something on TV. But yeah, it's like sort of one of those you know, phantom memories right now. Like someone maybe will bring it back in the live chat, but the only one in there today is Sean Gold. So I get it. It's Thanksgiving.
It's the day before Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Day before Thanksgiving, you know. But speaking of Sean, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to mention something that Dustin was kind of touching on before with Hong Kong cinema. When I revisited this a few days ago, I hadn't seen it in a while. And like I said, I saw it on VHS when it first came out and stuff. So seeing a widescreen, you know, HD version of it after so long was pretty interesting. But what hit me as I was watching it was, you know, there was a lot of things around this time that sort of changed the action genre forever. You know, like 87 with Die Hard was huge, right? That changed everything.
Sure.
And then Dustin was saying Hong Kong cinema hadn't taken off in Hollywood cinema yet. But all those
I think Rumble in the Bronx was like the sort of arrival film for that.
Yeah, that and Super Cop, stuff like that. But like really Hollywood filmmakers weren't using wires a lot. They weren't shooting that style yet. Not a lot, but when I was watching this, I really was seeing a lot of the John Woo influence in the film, like all the slow motion, just tons of slow mo, just her hair moving in slow motion. And like, you know, I think it was like 86, 87, Better Tomorrow 1 and 2 came out, and then Killer in like 89. And then 90 was Bullet in the Head. And then in 92 was what changed action cinema forever again, was Hard Boiled. So I was wondering, like, the people that made this film, I think, were obviously watching those movies, because there's a lot of like style. Like I could see a lot of John Woo style in this movie when I was watching it.
There was a lot of movies at the time that like people would see Hong Kong cinema and try to bring it over there, like Rapid Fire. Like Rapid Fire was Brandon Lee's homage to Jackie Chan and Chow Yun-fat. I mean,
I love Rapid Fire.
That was amazing. His trying to bring all that to show people like, hey, look at this style. It's different. It's fucking cool. Like you guys don't know about this shit yet.
Well, they hired John Woo to do the next one, which is Hard Target.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that like Van Damme was obviously a fan, I think, because I think John Woo's introduction to American cinema was Hard Target, and for me, arguably Hard Target and maybe Face Off were his two good American movies. I mean, he never was able to hit that hard-boiled status in America. You know, he never was able to kind of do that.
Well, again. You know, if you think about it, like this movie, you could have called this movie U.S. Soldiers if you want, or something like that. You know, if it was like a more B movie title version of it or something. But it's from all these guys that are not from the U.S. You know, Van Damme is obviously the Muscles from Brussels. Dolph's a Swede. Dean Devlin. Dean Devlin's American, but Roland Emmerich obviously is not. I think he's German. So there's probably much more of a worldly sense like about all these guys. They probably are much more keen to watch movies outside of America than most American people, especially at the time.
Dolph went on to work with John Woo too on Blackjack a couple of years after that. So they both worked with John Woo.
Can I give you the one thing that this movie fails me on though?
What's that?
You've got Tiny Lister in your movie. And you don't do anything with him.
That's true. Yeah.
Like you sons of bitches.
It's true. They barely use him.
Well, you know what that might have to do with? He has one good eye, and the way the eye that everyone's like thing was over and covering was his good eye. So they had to like make a custom one of that for us. So that might have limited what they did with him in the film. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But
he doesn't get the credit he deserves in Hollywood. There's the other
R.I.P.
Oscar I'm waiting to
for sure. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. He's one of those guys shows up, you know, he's a personality actor, but he's just got this great, you know, presence. You're just, you know, one of those guys you're happy to see every time you see him. Like, oh shit, this dude, you know, I love him. You know, to me, it was always Zeus, you know.
Eat the steak.
Tuck mine in.
No.
Yeah. Oh God, fucking Zeus. That's like my favorite. Some of my favorite memories of being a kid and watching wrestling was like the Zeus versus Hulk Hogan feud. But at any rate, before we get to Universal Soldier sequel pitches, what do we have to say about the sequel? The fucking 5 sequels that have already been made.
We don't.
I haven't seen the 2 that don't have any martial artists in them. Those
initial ones.
Yeah, I've never seen those. I could never, even as a kid, I couldn't bring myself to watch those. I was like, fuck that. You're not even going to put a martial artist in this fucking thing? I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
So, but I have seen the other ones though, with Arlovsky and Michael Jai White and that other one with Arlovsky. I did see those.
Right.
I liked him. I was always a huge Michael Jai White fan, and I like Goldberg. Goldberg lives in my neighborhood here. I met him a couple times at the grocery store. So I mean, like fucking.
Did you notice Michael Jai White in the dam scene in the beginning?
Yeah, the first one.
Where he's got the sniper rifle. I was like tripping out on that.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was cool that they like downloaded the character of Seth into him, into that dead Universal Soldiers. Like they keep all these dead soldiers on ice, and then they just fucking do what they want with them eventually, and shit, you know. And I was like, dude, they just downloaded the ultimate bad guy into this dead soldier, and I thought that was a cool little touch or whatever. I mean, the movie was fucking not that great, but that's the fight scenes were cool.
I remember watching The Return. You know, the first sequel that they did, and it was
the first theatrical sequel.
Yeah, it was at the cusp of the Van Damme is over period.
Yes,
before he went straight to video.
Yeah.
So they tried, and it was like, I'm sorry, it was just, you know, it was too late, because I think Universal Soldier actually could have been some really good sequels. I actually expected there to be some good sequels, like in 1994 5 is missing a good Universal Soldier sequel.
Definitely, absolutely.
And it was just it was late, and I'm sitting there going,
and just like 1996 is missing a great Time Cop sequel, or 1997 for that matter.
Yeah, they waited too long, and he was like he was the main guy, but he wasn't the main guy.
That's the curse of Van Damme's career, and he's like said this.
I was literally going to say that.
Yeah, that like those things should have been bigger franchises, and like they should have been handled and managed like properly. But like I think he was just like also, going through some shit and just running around. Like I think his life was kind of a mess. Yeah, exactly.
He's going through some shit, all right.
Exactly. White piles of white shit.
He was coked out of his fucking mind for the like duration of his entire like fame, like 86 to 96, right? This is at least according to the biography thing that I saw like back in the day, which is still one of my favorite biography episodes ever, and I would pay stupid money to get a copy of it on DVD. Anyway,
yeah, him and Kylie Minogue were just racking rails on Street Fighter, dude.
But yeah, you're right. It's too late. Sorry. What were you saying, Kristian?
I watched 45 minutes of Universal Soldier 2 on Tubi the other day. That's the movie channel sequel.
Yeah,
it's got Burt Reynolds. Okay. It's got Burt Reynolds and Gary Busey in it as the bad guys. And then it seemed, what it's like? It's like imagine if the shittiest CW production like made a Universal Soldier TV show. That's what it's like. And like you should watch the opening at least, because the opening they reenact the rain fight at the end with these two guys that can't fight, and they're saying the dialogue and everything. And it's like it's really bizarre. Like you should
That's so good.
Just watch it for a little bit. But it's like and they also have these scenes too where they're like music montage, music video sequences by this horrible like pop alternative band that sounds like that band Lit, the one that sings like Steal My Sunshine. So they have like the stupid songs and like
Len, weird. Not Lit.
That's Len. Yeah, Len, that's what it is. But check it out. Just for that. It's
and now I'm having like Jesus, now I'm having all these like summer of '99 flashbacks, and I'm thinking about Universal Soldier: The Return, that theatrical Van Damme sequel. And god damn, it's this movie does
it didn't work. And that was like, as I'm watching Universal Soldier today, I haven't seen it in a few years. I'm sitting there going like, why was this not picked up? Like, why did this not be at? I mean, I know it's Corelco. They had the rights to it, and Corelco was kind of in their own, bankruptcy issue, I think, during this period.
I'm curious though. Say, all right, let's talk about this, right? Say it was coming out in 1995 and Dolph is dead, right? Who would your villain be in the sequel?
Well, they bring Dolph back in Regeneration.
I know they clone him later in the later cable sequels. That like Peter Hyams had like his son. I think Peter Hyams and his son sort of took over the franchise a little bit.
Yeah, is who that's where we're still in the golden day of action. I mean, it was Van Damme, it was Stallone, it was Schwarzenegger, it was Willis. I mean, who?
I would like to see Bolo Young as a fucking cyborg. Fucking, I don't care. I want Bolo in it.
Fuck.
I know he fights him all the time, but I'll fucking take Bolo in a cyborg
I gotta
movie.
Say that's probably
dude.
I never saw
He's already a robot.
In my mind, you remember the VHS cover of TC 2000?
Oh yeah,
Billy Blanks. That's one of the most beautiful covers ever.
Whoever that guy is, I don't care if he's a crappy actor. Put him in
Billy Blanks.
Exactly. That's the Tybo guy or whatever. Yeah.
Tybo.
No, I mean Michael Jai White is great. The movie, The Return didn't work. It's not Michael Jai White's fault at all. That guy's actually a great actor and an incredible martial artist. It's not his fault in the least that that didn't work. But I think you need like somewhat of a kind of name to get people. Like Dolph Lundgren was a name. He was a household name because of Rocky IV, and you need to match that in the 1995 sequel that we didn't get. I'm just curious who that guy would be.
What would you do? It's almost like I keep thinking of all the VHS, all the stuff. It's like, honestly, would it have been Seagal?
It would have kind of had to have been. I feel like he was the big guy. Like, you know, you're not gonna get Stallone or Schwarzenegger, so like, you gotta get like someone in reality. Like, you just would have had to throw a shitload of money at Seagal.
Here's one that could have been seen. You know, this is after Pulp Fiction. Could it have been Sam Jackson? I mean, really, like, could have done anything with Universal Soldier in '95.
It's true. You could have.
Yeah. They should have cast Jeff Speakman. I would have watched that. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I would have watched it. All right, guys, I'll say it here right now. Sean in the chat, fucking support me. Thank you, sir.
I'm trying to think of a huge, like, hulking guy back then, you know, like somebody that you could contrast Van Damme with, you know, like a big guy that's not Schwarzenegger, of course, because he's not going to do it.
Right.
Sven Thorson would be perfect as the villain. He's enormous. He's enormous.
And then they just do what they did and clone Dolph and have him come back.
That
would have been very 1995. Like, people would have been like, "Yes, cloning. That's going to be here tomorrow."
Oh,
you know?
sure.
Like Multiplicity. Like, oh, it's one of my fucking favorite movies ever, and one I swear we'll do on VCR someday because I love Multiplicity.
Multiplicity. You ever make a Xerox and then it's not as clear as the original Xerox? That's pretty much what's going on with him.
Well, that's pretty much Steven Seagal for you.
In '95, you could have had maybe Wesley Snipes be the bad guy or something.
Oh, that'd be good, right? That
he was big. He was big at the time.
That would have been fucking
huge.
Chris, you
Passenger
just fucking
57.
nailed it. Wow. Again, we are not worthy, sir. We are not worthy.
But he would have been big.
The budget, Demolition Man. You mix that in the blender with the Universal Soldier story. I mean, that could have been so cool.
Which is ironic too, because Demolition Man was written with the hope that it would be Seagal and Van Damme.
Really?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That was it was originally written for, and they couldn't agree on who would be the star, who's the hero, and who's the villain, and who gets the bigger payday. You know, whose cock is bigger. You know, whatever. They hated each other and shit.
Yeah,
but
I guess we wouldn't get any of that until executive decision. But, you know, that's okay.
Too bad they couldn't have put their egos aside. Same thing with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, because if they had done something together in the prime, like, it would have made so much money. I mean, like, they could have just been like, you know, they should have just been like, I know we have problems. Let's just set them aside and let's make $1 billion. You know what I mean?
Tango and Cash was supposed to be that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the problem is, like, you know, finding the script that's worthy enough, because, like, Tango and Cash would have been, like, cool, but I think it's better that you have Kurt Russell. Like, I think it was rumored to be Patrick Swayze at one point too. Like, I think Tango and Cash wound up exactly the way it was supposed to. I think Kurt Russell is a good counterbalance to Stallone at that point in time. Sure. You know, I think if it was like, you know, Schwarzenegger, it would have been, I don't know, it wouldn't have had any like levity, you know.
You reminded me that was the last time I was on the show, was Tango and Cash. It actually wasn't. It wasn't Rocky. It was Tango and Cash,
which we ironically called Grand Damage. So everything's full circle. Shit. You know, more than anything, I want to see this 1995 sequel that we didn't get with fucking Wesley Snipes and you know,
like to pitch it today. It's like, we've had these examples of the what the studios have done today with putting, you know, Van Damme in it for 5 minutes, which, by the way, is what I hate more than anything. I hate when they do that with Van Damme, like the Kickboxer sequels where he's in it for
yeah, I hate that too.
Well, that's like what they're doing now in the Universal Soldier movies. Like, it's like all Scott Adkins. Like, Van Damme's in it for like literally like clearly like a day or two shooting, you know.
That's what I hate about every Van Damme fucking sequel. Especially like the stupid Kickboxer fucking sequels that they put him in, where he doesn't even play Kurt Sloan, he plays some stupid.
Fuck that shit.
Like,
give me
fuck?
More Sasha Mitchell sequels. Like, give me more Kickboxer 3, The Art of War. Like, you know, fuck.
They can't get the fish in the boat with him in the sequels. I don't know what the fuck is a problem.
We're done talking about. We're done talking about Universal Soldier. We're just going to talk about Kickboxer 3, The Art of War now.
That's a fucking masterpiece.
It's taken
there's almost no kickboxing in the entire movie, and I love it. I'm here for it.
That movie
now, is it college kickboxer? No, but it's good though.
Oh, yeah.
Not that good.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a high bar. Not too many things a college kickboxer are good.
Dustin. Chris, have you seen College Kickboxers? Please?
I haven't. He told me about it. I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, bro, it's a masterpiece.
Stop watching the show now. No, I'm just joking.
No. Watch till the end. Hit the like button, subscribe, and comment. And
go watch College Kickboxers, followed by freaking Kickboxer 3: The Art of War, and Kickboxer 4.
It's funny. All of those are in my Tubi queue, by the way. All those movies that you just said.
How do they look on Tubi? Are they in like good D, like HD and shit?
The Kickboxer ones are.
VHS copies, but who cares?
When are we gonna get some respectable Blu-ray releases of those films? I'm just saying the internet like is a place where this should happen, and it hasn't happened yet. And
I want a Kino Lorber release, please.
You've been over this. You can either get the pristine record, or you can get the dollar bin at Goodwill scratched up version with all the cackles. I want the cackles. I want the skips. I want.
You're a psychopath. I don't know what's wrong with you. I want the fucking 1995 sequel with Wesley Snipes. God damn it! But I guess we can't pitch that. So
I want that too.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Sean. We love you, Sean.
Our one audience member. Yeah.
Our one audience member. He's got some pitches here. Okay. So let's when we don't know how to pitch, we got to start with the live chat here. So Mr. Gold, he has a pitch. Skip all the sequels. Luke moves to Cincinnati to retire, but gets caught up in another war. This time with the preps. Now he needs to help Mitchell and his crew with a race. Universal Airborne. Well, shit, I'm done. That's perfect. Fuck. God
Universal
damn.
Airborne.
I would have thought he was going to go Airborne Soldier.
Yeah,
but Universal Airborne. And Ian walked up. He succeeded. You succeeded, Sean Gold. Yeah.
You have not lived until you skated the devil's backbone.
He prophesized this in the chat. He said, Dustin is Ian. Ian, you're out.
He said Ian's out.
He also says, put me down for multiplicity. And,
oh, shit, man.
We
love you, Sean.
Yeah.
The if you did it in 90, there's a version of it that I want him battling The Rock. Like, we got this Scorpion King shit to give us the first Rock. I think Universal Soldier 3 should have been the introduction to Rock into this world. If there's a world where we have a Universal Soldier franchise, Universal Soldier should have had The Rock.
But The Rock's
I think you're. Here's the deal, right? I think Universal Soldier 3 probably would have been doomed no matter how. Like if Universal 2 is in 95, Universal 3, like the Van Damme party was probably. I mean, maybe it could have kept going if he had managed all these franchises better, but like I feel like you gotta get it out by like 97 or 98 at the latest.
That's fun.
Soldier 3.
Yeah. Freaking Independence Day and what was it? Species.
I'm just saying 98 would have worked because all the movies that succeeded in 98 were like giant fucking mega turds. Like Godzilla made money, Armageddon made money, Deep Impact made money. Like that summer was like, that summer was ass. I'm just saying.
But I think what made Universal Soldier work though is you had a director like Roland Emmerich who really could tell cared about the structure of the film. This wasn't like the director of The Return, who I don't even know who it is. I'm sure he's a good director, but these other movies, I mean, you can tell they're just work for hire guys who just do something, real fast. Oh, Van Damme's coming in on Tuesday. We got to film all of his scenes before, 3:00.
Lunch. Yeah, before lunch.
Roland Emmerich really took his time with that movie. And if you got directors, like, can you imagine a world where Universal Soldier was done by like the Alien series, where each time they got a visionary director to really do something cool with it? I mean, you could have, it's like, again, it's like the franchise there that nobody saw.
Right. Cared enough about.
Yeah. Hey, Universal Soldier, that's a good franchise. Wait, didn't that come out on Tuesday? Yeah, we're doing something else, guy.
You're
right. Example of a really cool story, and they just fuck it off, dude.
do that. You know, let's get Judge Reinhold in here. You know, let's.
Can we just do this and just de-age these guys, right? Like I'm thinking
That's what
like,
see.
De-aging
What I would
is
like,
weird, but like fuck it, like that's like that sounds like so much more fun. Like give me that, the 95 and 98, make it a trilogy. Like
I don't really know what to do to like, you know, bring the franchise back to life. And I'm not, you know, I don't normally like reboots, but I was thinking that and you know, I don't really like, you know, like those new Halloween movies where they forget about all the other sequels and they start fresh. I usually hate that. Yeah, I usually hate that too. But what I was thinking with this was the de-aging thing you were saying. I was thinking of Cobra Kai when I was watching it and how they de-aged Johnny, made Johnny look like he did in '84.
Yeah.
And I was thinking if you could turn this into a series on a cool streaming service and somehow bring back the original cast, or at least Van Damme, but then also show flashbacks of them and Nam, and you learn more about him and Dolph Lundgren and Nam and their relationship and how Dolph Lundgren went insane. I thought that would be cool, but I don't know how to actually do it. You know, like I was like, they've kind of run this whole thing, this whole series into the dirt. So I was like,
well, yeah, well,
how
the
do you do
interesting thing, the way they've done it is like through clones. So because it's been like they're cloning everybody, then like anything is possible, right?
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see. Go ahead, sorry.
No. What were you gonna say, Dustin?
I was just gonna say, like, on that same vein, I'd like to see, like, fuck it, bring everyone back. They're on ice. You can bring back whoever the fuck you want. You can reclone them. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You can make them all fucking scarred and shit or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, let's go to space. Let's go in the future. We colonize the moon. There's multiple fucking international people, Chinese, Russian, blah blah blah, on the moon. These are Unisol soldiers. They're not, you know, they're not just USA soldiers. So they're like a conglomerate of like a world business, and they sort of like an Elon Musk type of person would farm out these soldiers on the moon as like moon-based guards and workers and shit. And then you can bring back whoever the fuck you want. You can put fucking Cynthia Rothrock and Don Wilson in there and make them all fucking Universal Soldier guards just do all this cool shit, man.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bolo Yang in space, dude.
Sounds kind of like Blade Runner meets Universal Soldier, or like Outland meets Universal Soldier or something.
This is the plot that's next to Universal Soldier called Universe Soldiers. You know, and it's like by the
yes. Universe Soldiers, gotcha. Milky Way soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh. God,
oh my God, that's so fucking true. Holy shit.
But I agree. Honestly, like, again, it's like, I hate saying this, but, you know, just, again, I don't know why my brain's going to this, but I was watching it today just going like, who screwed up on this? Like, who really forgot that it could have been something?
Cocaine.
Cocaine. They were
yeah, that's what happened.
They're laundering drug
money. I think the simplest terms, I think it's as a story of cocaine.
Yeah, Van Damme's like, fuck it, I'm not doing another Universal Soldier. I'm doing Double Team. All right, that's a good script. I'm going.
Show them. I'll make a new fucking franchise. Fucking Mickey Rourke and Dennis Rodman. It will be brilliant.
Double Team and what's the other one that was a Hong Kong movie that was a fucking turd? It was Double Team and
Knockoff.
Yeah. Which, you know what? Those movies they're like Hong Kong movies. So, like, no one knows what to make of them. They're fucking weird. They're weird like a Hong Kong movie's weird. You don't understand that culture. You miss a lot of the jokes.
You're like, why is Rob Schneider in this? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. But fucking people in Hong Kong, that shit's fucking lit. Like, they love that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say, though, now I'm thinking about it, too. If you did Cobra Kai this and you flipped it, you opened up seeing like a clone of Sergeant Andrew Scott, like living a quiet life, like a small life. He's trying to, like, you know, keep it bottled inside. And then something fucking triggers him. Like, that could be an interesting, like, place to start, like, his story. Especially if it was like in a series. And you could have like the flashbacks like you're talking about, Kristian.
Dude, right? Like, he's on a farm. His kid fucking sees a rattlesnake. He shoots the rattlesnake and he fucking picks up the tail and, like, he's looking at the rattlesnake tail. And all of a sudden getting flashbacks and putting it in his fucking ear, you know, like he's wearing that thing in the fucking movie the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he's like, whoa, what the fuck?
It's funny you bring that up, Dustin. I was watching it with Mira, and my wife, when we were watching it, she was saying at the end, she wanted a Dolph Lundgren action figure where he has all the badges and like that.
All the ears,
that, like, little, that rattle hanging off.
Yeah.
She's like, I want all the accessories so I can dress him in those different outfits.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I want that too.
I want the wood chipper machine that he gets put into at the end or whatever the fuck.
She said it should come
is.
with that.
Yeah.
She was saying it should come with the wood chipper.
Dude, that's so cool, dude.
And let's bring up something, by the
God.
way. Between like 85
and the steroids, yes.
Between 85 and to like, I'm just, these are numbers I'm throwing out. 85 to like 95.
Right.
That was like the era of like impalement endings, where the bad guys always get impaled. Do you realize that? So many movies, they're getting impaled.
There was some good. They had to
Crow,
go gruesome
No
with the
Escape.
deaths, yeah.
Everyone's getting impaled
Ghost.
at the end of movies.
Oh, No
Ghost.
Escape is one of my fucking favorites.
Everyone
I
gets
love
impaled.
Oh, No Escape's bad.
My friend and I
Yeah.
made a dub tape of impalements a long time ago.
Dude, Dude, how
Just-
cool was the impalement in Ghost? Like,
oh yeah, it was great.
oh my
At the end.
God. As a kid, I was going like, oh my fucking God. Like
Yeah.
when Tony Goldwyn gets that fucking stalactite of glass through his fucking stomach.
It's a
dude.
great impalement with Dolph too at the end. I mean, you got all those.
Yeah.
You know, he's impaled
On
like
his
all through his
hand
whole
and shit.
body. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. That's like the Running Man
Only
impalement with all the deep fake version of it, or rather with all the spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesse
yeah.
the Body
Yeah.
shoves Arnold into the spike wall.
Only
Or
the,
Friday 5, Jason gets impaled like that. Shit.
Tons of impalements through the 80s. It was
Right.
hot. It was hot.
Dude,
at the
I
time.
want to cut up the impalement mix now and like do some cool synthwave to it. Like that would be
Only-
sick.
Dude, yeah.
only if you include Robert De Niro from Backdraft. You know, that's got to be in there too. You know?
Does he get impaled in that too?
Yeah. You
I don't know. Oh, that's right. That's right.
My favorite impalement is always going to be in Bringing Out the Dead. Just saying, Scorsese fucking crushed it in that one.
We should do an episode on impalements, our favorite impalements.
I think we just did. I think we pretty much covered now. Is there anything else? I mean, Friday 13th's got a lot, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of arrows through throats and rafts and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's tons of them. But
There's the corkscrew is a good impalement. I'm just saying.
oh yeah.
Soldier, though, if you think about it, though, could have been a great Fox like TV series in like '94. If you really do, you know.
I mean,
Fox-
if the Van Damme ship like ran out of cocaine way faster, that might have happened.
But you know, like that's actually been a really good, like look,
It would have been the best show Fox did that year, but they still would have canceled it.
all right, Chris, calm down. But listen,
Just saying.
there are two people in this world, okay? There are dirty liars, and there are people who love Renegade. All right, that was a great.
That show.
No, look,
Holy Thunder in Paradise.
forget all these people who are sitting there like, oh, I'm going to watch Blue Blood. You know, oh, I'm going to watch, CSI Miami for the 14th. No, up yours, you uppity people. Sit down and be like cool dads in the 90s who watched Renegade just for, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Bobby Six Killer.
Well, you know what also could be interesting now that I'm thinking about it? Have you ever seen the deleted alternate ending from Universal Soldier?
I haven't. No.
So the alternate ending is fucking crazy. Turns out that those people are not really his parents. Like he just was drawn to like this farm and they like set this trap, like they're CIA agents. And like he literally gets blown to be like Rance Howard is like, because if you think about it, Rance Howard plays it kind of strange. Like when he gets back to the farm, he doesn't like hug him or like do like anything really, you know. There's all the fighting in the barn stuff is reshoot stuff. They also put that stuff in to beef up the fight and like the muscle enhancers and stuff like that. That's all reshoot stuff to, again, because like steroids were a relevant topic. So this movie had to like sort of like throw it all in, everything but the kitchen sink. You got steroids plus martial arts plus deceased former soldiers and plus a former, an undead rivalry. Like this has got everything you need.
That's interesting. I watched it on HBO Max the other day, but then I realized that I have the special edition DVD, so it probably has that ending on it.
It probably does. Yeah, it's crazy. And then like Van Damme gets like blown away by all these CIA agents. Like it's like Jesus. Of course they tested it, I'm sure, and it like tanked. And they're like, no, we like Van Damme. We don't want our hero to die. Like No shit.
Yeah, it sounds like a strange ending.
Yeah, like a really strange ending. Like, but I get it. They were like trying to be kind of like, you know, sci-fi edgy. It's just like, all right, that's too much. This is Van Damme, not Harrison Ford. You know, you can't like get that crazy.
Went over. Is that supposed to be when he died?
Yeah, it's basically like right after he kills Dolph. Like then like he starts getting shot at, like, you know, and Jerry Orbach shows up with like a bunch of CIA agents. He's like, I had to lead them to you, Luke. Like we could end this in one fell stripe. The only way to kill Scott was with you, and now like you're of no use to us. Like boom, 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 boom. But
so him and Dolph don't fight at all?
No, they fight. He kills Van Damme kills Dolph.
Okay. So
it's a lot shorter though. They don't go to the barn, and Van Damme doesn't take muscle enhancers. It's like way shorter. So they like beefed up that fight, and they, you know, the good night asshole and stuff. They beefed up the fight, but he still kills him, and then they're like, oh, we just used you to kill Andrew Scott, and now you're dead. Boom, boom, boom. It's a really fucking dark ending. It's really fucking weird, but kudos to them for trying, I guess. I don't know. But it still kind of informs where it might be interesting to take the sequel. Like if you're flipping things and you're opening with Andrew Scott on a farm trying to like keep his sanity and live a quiet life. And then you have Luke Devereaux, who's like working for the government, but like they've been kind of sort of feeding him lies like this whole time. Like he finds out that those people weren't his parents now, you know, instead of having found out then. Like in the alternate ending, like he sort of does some research and then he starts to snap. And like, what if you kind of like flip it a little bit? Like, and yeah, there's like some rivalry to like what's going on, but like, you know, Andrew Scott's the only one who could stop Luke Devereaux, who's going crazy. Maybe that's an interesting way to do it now. I don't know.
Kind of like, yeah,
that would be cool.
Like where like Dolph's the main character. And,
yeah, Luke Devereaux's a bit of a fucking asshole, and like Dolph is like trying to do what's right, and then I don't know, maybe it flips even mid-movie, who knows.
It's an interesting concept.
I mean, I still want the Wesley Snipes 1995 version more than that, so like God damn it,
I just forget it. We're not talking about Universal Soldier anymore. Let's just talk about Renegade. All right.
fucking Renegade.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Shit.
The TV movies of Universal Soldier is like Renegade quality type of like. Yeah, it's great.
So Gold's Code in the chat says bring back Cobra, the Michael Dudikoff show, which I think is about our cue to wrap things up on our Universal Soldier talk. I don't know if we pitched the perfect sequel, but by damn, we pitched the one that the world deserves.
The 90s Wesley Snipes,
Van Damme. That's it.
This is the movie. Like that's the franchise we didn't get.
No, I mean Sean Gold's pitch, Universal Airborne. That's the movie we deserve. And 95 would be all the much better for it.
Guys.
Van Damme and rollerblades. Anyway, before we wrap it up, is there anything you guys have got coming up at Retro Fiend you want to let the people at home know about?
Right now, we're kind of taking a break for the holidays. You know, we got out our Don Perry, produced the music episodes. Our first guest, Tom Stern, he's turning 90 tomorrow, so we're going to promote some of his stuff for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
But no, we're going to regroup after the new year. We got some stuff in the works, but you know, we're going to keep it close to our chest for the moment, I guess. But we'll see what happens.
Well, we are waiting on bated breath, as always, for the next Retro Fiend radio drop. In the meantime,
don't worry about it.
In the meantime, we do want to wish, of course, you guys and all our viewers at home, which is Sean Gold tonight, very happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, very Merry Turkey Day. And of course, we want you Fandom fans to come back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when we warn you about Satan Claus for our last Boy Scout episode. As always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Retro Fiend Radio, Fandom Spotlight, the How 9 Network, and Pop Culture Pump. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.